Hi everyone, I'm Kathryn Rossati and I'm a middle grade and young adult author. As it's World Book Day today, I just wanted to share with you the first chapter of my latest book, Naturally Nick. Chapter 1. Nicoletta. My head is spinning. The glare of bright lights is mixing with the overpowering smell of concentrated disinfectant and day-old wee. This place is supposed to be somewhere that helps the sick, but every time I come here, I just feel like being sick. Gripping the coarse cover of the book on my lap, I forced myself to focus on something other than the overall dread infiltrating my mind. The book is a thick, leather-bound collection of magic tricks from the late 1800s that my best and only friend, Amy, found for me in an antique shop and got her parents to drop off at my house this morning for my birthday. I haven't had a chance to really look at it yet. They came right before I left for school, and lessons were awful as usual, so I was super drained at lunch and break. The old tome isn't a light volume. Honestly, I think I could knock someone out with it if the occasion ever arises. The spine gives a satisfying crack as if it's readying its pages for use, and a spark of excitement hits me. But then two nurses walk past, followed by a cleaner, and then some people talking quietly about a relative in intensive care. Their voices, soft and whispering, wriggle into my head despite my efforts to block them out. I groan and close the book. There's no way I'll be able to concentrate. I'm in the pediatric department's waiting room for family and friends while Amy receives her treatment. Her dad, Tony, has just gone to the cafeteria for coffee and a Diet Coke for me. I swing my legs back and forth. This chair is surprisingly high, so they're dangling about an inch off the floor, and blow out my cheeks as I wait for him to come back. We're always asked to leave the ward at times like this. Something about not overcrowding Amy and getting in the doctor's way. So I never know exactly what it is she has done. Tony says it's supposed to help her cells return to normal, to prevent her getting sick. But it makes her weak afterwards, and she's missed loads of school because of it. Sometimes the hospital keeps her in, like they've done for the past week. But today, I'm hoping they'll say she can go home soon. The note she sent with the book said she wanted to read through it with me. To be honest, she'll probably get me to read some of it for her, even if she has to stay here. She's like that. Nothing really knocks her down. Not for long, at least. I'm the complete opposite. The slightest remark, and I question everything I'm doing. Amy says that's not unusual for people on the autistic spectrum, since anxiety is a super common co-condition. Ever since I got put on the waiting list for diagnosis a few months ago, she's been looking up stuff about it. She says it explains nearly every one of my quirks, even the ones I keep trying to hide and didn't think she'd noticed. She's possibly right, but my brain can't handle thinking about all that right now. Tony never minds if Amy asks me to stay for a while longer than I'm supposed to. He always phones my parents to let them know I'll be late for dinner. Sarah, her mum, is a bit stricter, but she works evenings, so I don't see her as much. Technically, Sarah's family somewhere down the line, like a cousin of an aunt or something. Not sure whose side, though. Mum wasn't that specific. Anyway, Amy's been my friend since I was 4, after I accidentally crushed her toy typewriter and cried because I knew it meant so much to her. She just shrugged and said she'd been getting bored with it anyway, and decided we should try to make necklaces with the keys. Reaching inside my jumper, I pull mine out, rolling it around my fingers. It's 3 typewriter keys on a woven cotton chain, spelling out Nick, with only one T and some of the letters damaged by my clumsiness. There hadn't been enough to make up Nicoletta. Besides, I like the nickname anyway. It's short and to the point, much like me. Of course, Amy's got a matching one spelling out her name, and we've worn them since that day. The scent of strong coffee precedes Tony as he enters the room. I wrinkle my nose. "What you up to, kiddo?" he says, handing me my Diet Coke. "Just thinking." I drop my necklace to my chest and drum my hands on the book's cover. "Anything interesting?" he presses, taking a sip of coffee. He yelps and sticks his tongue up, his eyes crossing as he tries to see the tip of it. His expression is absurd, and I can't help but laugh. "Ah, there we go. I finally got you to smile today," he says, deciding to let his coffee cool a bit by resting on the table beside us. I don't have much to smile about. I hate it when Amy has to go through this. Me too, kiddo. We all do. But if she can keep up her usual spirits, then the least we can do is try the same. Would you really want everyone around you to be gloomy all the time if you were in her position? He asked, peering over the top of his glasses. I suppose not, I mutter. This elicits a grin from him, and he waits patiently. All right, I groan. I'll tell you what I was thinking about. Tony settles into his chair, like a little kid, waiting to hear a good story. You'd never think he was a head teacher, but somehow he is. If only he was our head teacher, instead of the old crone we have to put up with. I was remembering when Amy and I first met, and how long ago it was. She's always been there for me, and encourages every interest I have, I say, indicating my book. He nods. She did say you'd like that. I didn't know you were into magic. Well, I say hesitantly, I can't do much, but I'm fascinated with the history and theory behind it all, and I love watching it performed. I don't tell him that I tried to learn some basic card tricks once, but the popular girls at school saw me practicing and made me demonstrate in front of the entire class. It didn't go well, and I haven't picked up a pack of cards since. That was the year Amy and I had been in separate classes. If she'd been there, she'd likely have raged and got them to back off. This year is turning out just like that one. She's too ill to have my back, and I know I shouldn't rely on her anyway. It's not fair. She needs me now, and I have to be there for her, not the other way around. So, you're like the people behind the scenes of these big magic shows? The ones who work it all out so the magician can make everything look seamless? Not yet. I haven't come up with anything new. But maybe I will. Someday. You'll get there. You've got the brains to do it, he says, standing up to stretch. The door to the ward opens, and Amy's doctor pops her head out, saying I can go in and see Amy now, while she has a word with Tony. I head through the ward until I get to Amy's section. She's lucky enough to be in a room by herself, and is already sketching out something on her pad. Her pillows have slipped down, making her hunch over more than she has to. Instinctively, I go to plump them up. Her face is chalky as she leans forwards to let me do so, but she's smirking, so she can't feel all that bad. Your face is so serious. You look like a proper old-fashioned matron, she says, taking a sheet of paper, folding it a few times, then propping it over her thin hair so it resembles those weird white hats nurses wore in the 60s and 70s. I only know about them because she's forced me to watch her favourite film, a really old comedy set in a hospital where the staff get into all sorts of trouble, at least 10 times. I just want to make sure you're comfortable. That's all, I protest. You'll get a bad back otherwise. Nick, don't be silly. A backache's the least of my problems. I'm going home tomorrow anyway. They just want me in for another night to make sure I'm okay, she says. She takes the paper hat off her head and sets it aside along with her pad. Now, let's read that book. Have you found anything good in it yet? I perch on the edge of her bed and open the slab of a book to the contents page. My eyes catch the name of a trick that sounds familiar. I flick to it and scan through. This one's about a chest that's supposed to change what weight it is, depending on who's trying to lift it. A bodybuilder will struggle, but an old person can lift it up easily. I show her the pages, pointing to the diagrams. They look like they're hand-drawn and very detailed. She laughs. You should try that on Melissa and Harriet. Make the box pretty so they try to pick it up as they walk past. And when you see them struggling, lift it up as if it's nothing. That'd put them in their place. I don't know where you get an electromagnet from, though. No, they'd guess I was fooling them, and then Harriet would come after me again. Besides, there's no way I could pull that off. I can't even do basic stuff. That's because you don't have any confidence in yourself. I know they make you feel like an idiot, but you're not. You can do anything if you try. Trust me. Easy for you to say. You're good at everything, I say, snapping the book shut and tossing it on the chair beside the bedside cabinet. Except getting better, she says with a half smile. I hope this new treatment works. I could kick myself for being so self-centered. Everything will be fine. I give her a hug and stand up. It's late. I'd better go home. I'm sure your dad's finished talking to the doctor by now. She nods. I meant what I said about your magic. You should try it again. Make everyone see how smart you are. She gestures to the book pointedly. There's bound to be stuff in there to give you some ideas. All right. But only because you want me to, I say, picking it up and tucking it under my arm. The book lets out a sweet vanilla-like scent as I flick through it while sitting on my bed. I'm supposed to be doing my maths homework, but it's geometry, the one part of the subject that I can actually do without struggling. Besides, this is more fascinating. I've just read about a trick involving clockwork butterflies and an orange tree growing from a stick. It always gives me chills when I realize how much inventiveness and calculation goes into making the impossible appear possible. Admittedly, Amy's probably right in thinking I could concoct something to fool my bullies at school. But it's not making the trick that's the problem. Planning, drawing up diagrams and sketches, they're the ones illustrated in this book, is easy. Well, maybe not that easy, but something I'd love to puzzle out. It's presenting it that I have trouble with. What if my hands slip at a vital part? Or I see something that makes it obvious how it's done? Quite often, great magicians had someone developing their tricks in the background, or hired assistants who are in on everything. It was a team effort with every performance. But I'm not part of a team. It's just me, and there's no way I can do it by myself. I run my hands over the crisp pages, frustration at my own weakness rising as I glance over illustrations, illusions, vanishing acts, card tricks, cup and ball variations, string and coin magic, and a dozen other sections. Every one of them tugs at my curiosity, but none are what I want to read right now. I wish I knew what I was looking for. Yourself. You're searching for yourself, but you won't find it there. Nothing can take your mind off how alone you feel. As the unwelcome thought chimes in my head, I grip my teeth and shake it away in disgust. I'm not the one who's ill. I have no right to feel sorry for myself. My finger catches on the sharp corner of a page, which slices straight through my skin. I jerk my hand back reflectively knocking the book onto the floor. It lands on its spine, with the weight of the pages against the front cover, leaving the back cover open to reveal its beautiful end papers. Sucking a small bead of blood from my fingertip, my eyes trace the paper's mesmerizing pattern. Only after a minute or so do I spot a rectangular bulge underneath it, about the size of a thick letter or notebook. I rooted around in my desk drawer for the wooden letter opening I got for my last birthday. Grasping it, I ease the blade under the gap between the end papers and the hard back of the book, wiggling it up and down to work the paper loose without damaging it. Eventually, a full corner lifts up, and I'm able to reach under and pull out whatever it's hiding. It's a journal, I think. There's no name or stamp on its plain, tatty cover, but as I open it up to the first page, in faded black ink, among a number of splotches, are the words, "The Distinguished Workings of Nikolai Roberts, Magician Extraordinaire," along with a date of 1852. Distinguished is written above another word that's been crossed out, as is magician and extraordinaire, as if the owner had trouble deciding what to declare himself as. The writing itself is even scruffier than mine, which, according to my English teacher, is a near impossibility. The letters are large and wonky, but trying to be that posh, swirly script style. Whoever this Nikolai Roberts was, I'm pretty sure he was only a kid when he wrote it.